All right, welcome back to the finale. Well, in the past we made the garage and we made the building. Next up, we have landscaping. All right, here we go. So we're gonna start doing the landscaping. I just started with a board, and I'm gonna mark out where the house is going to lay. This will help me when I'm making all the parts and pieces that go around. Once I got that, and then I just kind of made little marks and kind of where I wanted the grass and things to go, just as a layout. And I'm gonna take my good old piece of cereal box cardboard and I'm gonna make a sidewalk. So I'm gonna measure out how wide I want the sidewalk. We gotta keep in mind how big our people are too. And I think I'm gonna make where a driveway and the little walkway going up to the stairs. I tried to think of something to make the road with, and we had a bunch of extra roofing tiles, and it's a perfect texture. So I'm going to cut a piece of this and make it for my front partial road piece. And by the way, cutting this is interesting. Cut it from the back, and when I tried to make marks with a pencil at first, it's basically sandpaper, and it just sanded the end of my pencil, so I ended up using a marking pen later on. Lesson learned. Funny enough, also cutting this with my knife and cutting it with the scissors, it kind of sharpened my scissors up too, so it did a couple good things for me, being a road and sharpening my scissors. Once I got the size that I needed, I just decided to use my super glue to glue it down. I wasn't sure if the white glue would work quite as well, so I just super glued it, pressed it down, and let it dry. Now you notice that I switched my sidewalk around from the thin cardboard, and I decided to make this a little thicker because I wanted it to be chunkier and go a little bit above the road that I had. And I got various shades of gray, a little bit of black, and I even put a little bit of white. And I started with the lightest color first. So the lightest shade of gray, I just did an all over gray amount, and then I'm going to do a speckling technique later on. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take all the other grays and just flick it on there. At first it didn't splatter right, so I added a bit of water to my paint, and it got just the right effect that I wanted. And you just layer it up until it kind of looks like a concrete sidewalk. This gets very messy and it's all over the place. This is just acrylic paint. It washes right off your hands, so no biggie there. But definitely want to put something down to protect your table or do it outside, whichever way. And then once you're done, just let it dry completely and you'll get this cool little grainy effect. I also, once it was dry, I did the lines of that same light gray to make it look like the cracks in the sidewalk. And just glue it on. You'll notice as I start adding different things that my initial plan kind of goes out the window. I was going to do curbs and different things like that, and then I found the road, and it just kind of built itself. So, but it does turn out pretty good at the end. And of course, you gotta squish everything down with the brick. And now we're just gonna glue the whole house onto the board here. This glue is pretty good, and it'll hold it down, but not completely. But once we add the glue for the grass and different things, it's gonna have a few layers of glue on it. It'll stick down pretty good. Now I gathered a few skewers and chopsticks and things. I ended up with the thicker ones because I'm going to make telephone poles. Really easy. It's basically a big T, and I cut them to the height that I wanted and made some angle pieces. You're just going to make a T shape, so glue the crossbars to the top. Once you get those, then you put the little angle pieces. Be very, very careful if you cut them on the bandsaw like I did. Just hold them very carefully and safely, please. Or you can probably chop them with a really sharp X-Acto knife. They're pretty soft bamboo. And we're going to get the shape of little telephone poles here. Once you get all the little angle pieces and let it dry for a little while, you got yourself almost a telephone pole. Or you can make a little rake if you put little tongs on it. But it needs the little transistors on top. So all I did is I searched through my many beads that I have and found just the right looking piece. And I'm going to glue these beads right on top. And there you go. You have a couple little telephone poles, but they're not quite done yet. They just need a quick coat of black paint, and this just makes everything all cohesive in one color, and it looks like a telephone pole more and more. And there you go. We're just going to set those aside to dry, and we'll move on to the next little piece. Now we're going to make a sign that goes in front of the building, so you kind of know that this is the fire department. And all I did was I just got some clip art of a fire department sign, a little piece of my scrap cardboard from when I did the sidewalk, and we're going to basically decoupage them together. Just a bunch of glue on the bottom and some glue on the top. Once it was all dry, I just cut it down to a shape, a sign shape basically, just enough around the little picture. And I've got these itty bitty little clothespins, and I'm going to take them apart, and I'm going to use the two little wood pieces as the feet, or the poles that hold the sign up. Once you got the 2 feet or legs or poles, whatever you want to call it, all glued on there and it's nice and dry, we're just going to paint it a brown and get it all cohesive again. once this was all dry, I do a clear coat spray on it just to seal it up, and you got yourself a little sign. All right, we got a road and a sidewalk. Now the fun part. We're going to take all the parts and pieces that we've made and start putting it together. To put the trees and the poles, I just used a little bit of clay and splooched it down. Usually I would have maybe a thin layer of styrofoam and I could just poke them in, but this time I didn't go that route. So I just put some clay, smush it down to make it look like little dirt mounds almost. Make it look as natural as possible, and glued my fire hydrants and start building from there. I also mossified everything, of course. I did do static grass. In hindsight, I probably should have done the grass first before sticking all the trees and things in, but because I couldn't get close enough and I kept knocking the trees over, but it still turned out just fine. And I got some new grass and it was a little bit longer than I would like, so it didn't look quite natural, but it was a good thing that I painted the bottom green. It all blended in and it looks great. To accessorize, got to put the sign up, which didn't want to stay up for the longest time, and then just random little bushes and trees and flowers that I had until it looked nice and pretty. And there you go, a completed project. Woohoo! This took a while. It was a lot of parts and pieces and took a little bit of ingenuity in some parts, but it turned out as a whole pretty nice. I do say so myself. If you want to learn how to make those little trees, I did do a short on that. If you wanted me to do a longer video on that, just let me know in the comments, or on anything that I did actually. I kind of just glazed over those. As usual, if you like this video, a thumbs up would be awesome. And if you haven't already, a subscribe would be great. Thank you so much for the ones that have subscribed. And I hope you enjoy these, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.